Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Tuesday, April. It's Tuesday, the April.
Nailed it.
Tuesday the April.
First year.
Happy Tuesday, April, everyone.
Happy April Tuesday. Here
Where were
from
you
your
on
friends
Tuesday,
at the Giant
April?
Bombcast. I'm Jeff Gersman, filling in for Brad Shoemaker, who is on assignment. Jason A. Striker is here.
Howdy.
Hello. Jana Choa is there. I mean, there's not a here. What is here?
No, it's also why, at the same time, who am I?
Yeah. Who?
Having all types of crises.
Yeah. And bitrate friendly clothing enthusiast Ben Pack is here.
What's up?
Yeah, that's keep the background uncluttered. If you move that guitar, your face would be like 2% clearer.
I mean, I can.
Don't do it.
Hold on.
Don't just said don't do
now
it.
you're moving all.
Did somebody? You guys have any requests?
Oh,
I can.
Yeah, if
do
you
a
could
little
break
bit
that
of,
guitar. How much Raffi you know?
I don't know how to play the guitar. I'm sorry.
It's not
It sounded like it was
for
kind of a
moments.
tune.
like
That song about the duck.
The racist one.
Yeah. We're talking Raffi. So, yeah. So, here we are, the wonderful world of video games, keeping everyone together in these trying times.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's been nice to have some big hits out there. People seem very focused. I know some of y'all been playing that Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh,
a little bit.
oh yeah.
A lot of it.
Oh God.
Ben, you finished it?
I have completed it. I woke up. I tried to do it all night. I was coming up on the end, and I tried to like marathon it through. I got till about like 2:30 a.m. with half of a chapter left. I just couldn't do it. Woke up in the morning, had a terrible migraine, just like killer, like lights and sound were just messing with me, and I pushed through it just to experience the end of that game because I was so in at that point.
So under ideal circumstances, you finish that game.
Yeah, exactly. With
Great.
just like not being able to kind of read or see anything that was happening on the screen, none of that's important.
But
Right.
you felt what was happening. You felt the materia and the Mako coursing through you.
By not understanding the story at the end, it's almost like you imported a Japanese version of the game, which some say is the truest way to play Final Fantasy VII. So what do you think? I mean, I'm not going to say, hey, spoil the ending, though. As someone who read what the ending was,
And for people who are interested in spoiler talk, we will have something for y'all later in the week. But yeah, I think like I feel about it the same way I felt last week. I think overall, for the most part, they did a really good job of making a game that a Final Fantasy neophyte, especially 7, could enjoy and have a really good time with. I think a lot of that is carried by its combat. I truly think the combat in that game is like stellar.
Who do you wind up playing as the most?
I bounced around a lot.
Went with Cloud.
So it's cool because each of the characters really does have different uses. Cloud is kind of your most malleable character. You can use him to fill in the gaps, like, oh, I need a healer, or I'm lacking in magic damage, because the game has you has your party changing up quite frequently throughout the game. Different chapters, you'll be like, this one's just 2 of you guys, and this one's 3 of you, but not Aerith, or there's no Tifa. So you kind of have to be able to mix and match your styles on the go. But honestly, like if I was in a boss fight, I was kind of on Tifa on lock. She's just so fun to play in that game, especially when you start nailing in her shortcuts and stuff. She has that one that it's like overdrive or something you can cancel out of a basic attack into, and she does that little spinning drill kick.
It's really good.
The chi traps where you can drop the orb and kind of keep stun locked in place.
That if you match that with like the elemental materia and you like nail it as like the right weakness, it's so satisfying, because then you also have like the refocus materia, and then you just have like 3 ATB and you're just going hog wild doing combos. It's insane. But then at the same time, I kind of like dismissed Barrett as like, oh, whatever. He's just doing like low DPS from the side.
He's my guy who will live for a really long time and shoot guys out of the air. Those are his 2 jobs.
And
but then like
useful.
as like I started like experimenting more like with his different weapon abilities, and like Ben, we were talking before the Bombcast, but like as soon as he gets like the melee arm and like the abilities he unlocks with that, it's like pretty clutch in some of the encounters.
He has some serious crowd control potential. I ended up going with him. He was kind of my like support star. I gave him a lot of the like buff and debuff stuff, like haste, and like Poisonga. Is that it? The like cure version of Poisona or whatever.
Poisona 5?
from that TV show. That's what that guy's always saying.
Oh yeah, young Barrett. I can't wait for him to finally say Poisonga.
Poisonga. Yeah, he's always saying it. A fine CBS property.
I will say, Jan and I were talking a little bit before here about like where he was at, and Jan was like kind of
my broken brain needing to complete every single side quest and mini game before I move on has kept me from finishing the game because I just keep switching weapons to max stuff out or maxing out materia because I was falling under the trap of just hot swapping materia instead of just leveling up separate orbs of materia. So I'd wind up in like positions where especially later in the game where you kind of split 2 by 2, you're kind of screwed if you just do like you're only leveling up a couple materia versus just a bunch. But yeah, I spent way too much time fucking leveling up my weapons. But it turns out
I dropped the bomb on Jan that one thing, if you're in a similar position to Jan and hung up on that stuff post game, once you've beaten the game, it unlocks a full-on chapter select where you can hop into any chapter on any difficulty. You earn 3 times the amount of experience basically for leveling stuff up. Wow. Yeah, it really is like, hey, you want to grind and get everything? Here is your plate to do so. And so, like, I've been going through wrapping up
in the nuts. If you,
I know.
Sorry, Jan.
I know. It's like when I found out in Assassin's Creed that you could buy a map to find all the eagle feathers,
right,
and not just be an eagle vision the whole fudging time. Anyway, wow, it's a godsend to hear that.
Well, think about it this way, though. Like, you're leveling up for the final confrontation.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like post-game leveling, it's masturbatory.
It's
trophy hunting. It's
there's combat. There's optional combat arenas.
Totally,
that
and
unlock
always has
when
been,
you beat the game. That are a lot of fun. I'm going through and trying some of those now. Some of them are only available on hard mode, and let me tell you, fucking hard mode is a kick in the ass. No items.
That doesn't seem right.
Final destination.
Right. Aerith only.
Whoa. All right. So you're saying cool. Jason, have you been touching that at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm still like in the very early stages of it. I haven't progressed that nearly as far as these guys. Like, I'm still just using Cloud in my party, so not far at all. But it's been fun. Like, this has been a fun like trip back. Like, as soon as you get into town and some of the music plays, it's very nostalgic. And the remixes that they're putting on some of these music tunes has been fun. And yeah, it's a looker as well. Like, this is a very pretty game. Plays really good.
I feel like everything I've seen of it is just like, man, this is a damn good looking. I mean, it's a lot of like. Do you ever get out into an open area? Like so? I guess what I'm asking is like everything we saw when Brad came back with pre-release footage, which is basically what I've seen of the kind of close to final game. It was a lot of very tight areas that looked fantastic. So I guess like, does it do big areas ever? And how does that look good? Or is it really just like, hey, we went for this like very tight arena, almost like a fighting game level of like, this is a small area, so all these characters look sick as fuck.
It kind of, I've been finding it kind of rides like in between that. Like, for instance, Aerith's house looks fantastic, and it's great. The water, the flowers, it's amazing, but you're confined to like a small path to walk through. So I feel like it is a lot of tighter areas with really great looking stuff. But at the same time, some of the texture things on like whether it's like a vending machine or a sign is still kind of rough.
Yeah, there are instances of that. That Jan's nailing it. They basically kind of give you that illusion of larger space much more than they actually give you really big open areas to run around with. There are a few, mostly around bosses, but yeah.
Cool. How's about Animal Crossing? How's your speaking of grinding in video games, Animal Crossing?
Our long egg trial is over.
Yeah.
Where were you when egg stopped?
Every crack in the ground now finally gives me the right amount of serotonin that I need. No longer gives me eggs. I fish. No eggs. That's great. I see something in the sky. It's going to be something worthwhile and not a fucking egg.
Hey, man, I got to say, I made like 300,000 off of stuff I was making off of those leftover eggs on the last day.
That is a pittance.
I was going to say, that sounds like garbage compared to some of the numbers I see these turnip-ass motherfuckers throwing around.
Well, I got turnips too. You know, I'm saying I got lots of sources of income.
Oh, gotcha. Either way, Flipper or whatever the hell his name, Flippy, I don't care.
Floppy.
He's donezo.
Zipper.
Floppy till next year. Unless we get something in like the summertime, who knows?
So like the turnip thing is obviously never. It's never been anything I've ever engaged with. I think the first time I tried it, I took a fucking bath on the turnips, and just said, you know what, I'm not fucking with these turnips, and that was a decision I made on the GameCube or I don't know, Wii or something. I forget when and now seeing that everyone is all about those turnips to the point of, hey, I'm going to charge you an entry fee to get into my town.
It's not everyone. It's only the sociopaths that we know.
I realize it's not everyone, of course. Of course not. Of course it's not everyone. But the idea that someone set up a website to post like, hey, get in line to get in this town and sell your turnips.
Give me €1 so you can come to my island.
Fucking Venmo me €1 if you want to get in, and fucking like seeing that, I was just like, man,
I love it. Because it's just assholes ripping off assholes. Like if you're playing Animal Crossing, you don't have to engage with
the latest of capitalism.
God, it reminds me of early days of Neopets.
Oh yeah,
watching this weird market develop underneath the systems of the game. I've kind of fallen off Animal Crossing mostly because like I've just, you log in, you do the equivalent of your dailies, and then I don't think I'm anywhere close to getting a 5-star island just because I get tired of picking up all my garbage on the ground. But I fired up the game to play with my little cousin because he had just picked it up. And I don't know, I'm kind of bummed out that there's not a lot to do with other physical players once they visit your island or you visit them. Like I dug a bunch of holes and he pole vaulted into them, and that was funny. And then he hit me with his net, and that was cool. I think what may make that experience better is if you could place items on the ground or move stuff. Because I gave him like a pool and I gave him like a Godzilla statue, but he couldn't really see it until I left the island.
Right.
So I don't know, something like that.
So if you flag someone as best friends, so assuming we're talking like online connection.
Yeah, online, yeah.
Isn't it that if you flag someone as a best friend, they can do shit?
So they can dig up holes, uproot trees, and cut stuff down, but like placing like furniture items, they still can't. Okay. You still can't do anything with that.
All right.
I wonder if it's like
fun stuff like the interactables. They can't.
Yeah.
The online stuff, the like player to player stuff, seems to really be the worst part of this game. Which is, I mean, on one hand expected because it's Nintendo, but on the other hand, like this game more than many other Nintendo games I can think of really could just make a really strong case for itself by having fun stuff for you to do with your friends.
Well, they did. I mean, I feel like in the past, for me, the draw of going to other islands or going to other towns in previous games, it was always about, hey, we need to swap some fruits.
Yeah.
Which obviously is like you get that out of the way. I feel like this is the most online an Animal Crossing game has ever been, at least.
Sure.
With the short codes, all other stuff, like they've eliminated enough obstacles to where like you can get out there and do it, But yeah, for me, the visiting another village was really all about, I need to go around and just talk to every single person in your town so that they fucking remember me forever, and that one of them leaves your town to come live with me.
Oh,
and vice versa. Like there was like you would start to like that's how you cross pollinated data basically, and that still happens. Like, but unfortunately, like it's like I had a bunch of people visit my town, but for some reason the only data that took was everyone is talking about Dan's title.
Weird.
So anytime I talk to anyone in my town, it's like, did you see that Dan guy? His title was whatever the fuck his title was. Wasn't even that great of a title. And I've had like 3 or 4 other people visit. Even at that same time, I had like 4 people in the town doing stuff. But for some reason, they only talk about that one data point. And it's like, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. I'm sure that changes as you get more people in and out. Because it used to be like, and then maybe it still does this, but like you would develop a rep over time.
Sure.
And the villagers would be like, I hear that motherfucker's a real bell pincher.
Oh yeah,
you know, like if you're all about money or you're all about aesthetics or whatever it is, like they would have different kind of canned things they would say about what type of player you are. And I assume that stuff's in there on some level, because like why would they take much of that stuff out? It's already pretty thin. But
I've been trying to take note of my like villagers after kind of hearing your complaints about like the villager interactions being kind of crummy, especially early on. And they do get better. I do have like, I'm legitimately developing my favorite villagers, and my least, like, I have some people on the chopping block that I don't care so much for. But like and it's extra interesting the way that like events roll into this stuff, because they'll all start talking about like the events all start wearing the clothes. Like on Bunny Day, it was funny seeing Rodney wear a bunch of like, he looked like a goddamn egg, and I talked to him and he's like, I used to work on an egg fashion line and it was going to sell for millions of bells, but I ate all of my subjects and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I think it's definitely gated behind like the more I play, the more the mechanics start to surface themselves. I think that something I didn't understand is how much your progression is tied to your star rating. It's so much so that the fact that I didn't know that once I got 3 stars, KK Slider showed up, played a song, and credits rolled. I was like, why are credits rolling in Animal Crossing? I thought this is supposed to be a game that you spend
3 stars?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I guess I have to start over. New game plus. Like, do I get a bigger island or what?
Your island got blown up.
Oh man, I have 2 stars. I just need 1 more to get that dog over. Oh jeez.
Yeah,
okay.
It was great. That was my first time having KK Slider show up, and like it's such a cliche thing for video games, and like it's been in Smash and other stuff. So I've seen him around, but like actually having him show up and play a song was kind of a cool moment for me.
Yeah, I think like gating that behind progress seems like kind of shitty. But well, it's kind of weird, right? Because it's like it's stuff that is in an animal, or generally speaking, it's like this is an Animal Crossing game, but it's like they've stretched out that stuff to drip feed it to you as you play more of the game, which probably makes it a way better first Animal Crossing.
Yes,
it helps kind of drip that stuff out over time to where it's like, oh, now you're getting this. There's like,
or if you were someone coming from Pocket Camp, I think that would really work too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not necessarily.
We don't count Pocket Camp as an actual Animal Crossing around these. This house. So
the way fishing and bug catching is in Pocket Camp, it's like a lot more streamlined. And then my partner had a lot of trouble catching it because, like, I guess with the fishing and the bug catching, there's like an exclamation mark that pops up that you gotta tap to catch the whatever. Yeah. And here it's mostly just like visual or just walking up to the bugs properly. So she had a little bit of trouble, but then she also doesn't play that many video games, so that could also be it.
Cool. Yeah, I launched it yesterday for the first time. Like I did not play during the egg event at all.
Oh,
like,
good for you.
No one was talking about eggs in my town.
You did not miss a lot.
It was like, hey, where have you been? We were hanging out.
Like infested with roaches or anything? I keep hearing. Okay, all right, that's been keeping me playing because I don't want my town to succumb to bugs.
Yeah, I think it ended up being like a week or whatever the thing is. So
Okay.
I didn't see any bugs. Besides, you can
I can
catch
take
the
a
bugs.
break. Oh,
Yeah.
thank God.
But I turned it back on, and like I had new villagers because that was like the last thing I did was build those houses, and it was like one of their birthdays. So I was like, I'm gonna show up over here and give them a present, and hey, we're having a birthday party, and 2 new villagers are here. That's fun, and talk to them, and I was like, all right, cool. I'll come back and do some other stuff.
Yeah.
Some other time. Like basically like waiting for that town hall to open, which I think will happen next time I turn the game on. But
Jeff, there's cool arcade cabinets you can get in this game.
That's I had on
rad.
3DS I had a like a sit down like Astro City looking thing, I think.
Yeah, they
And
got candy cabs in there.
yeah, and I think I had a pinball machine.
I got some of those too.
Yeah. I definitely started collecting that sort of stuff. But
there's a
in my
fighting
house.
game specific one.
Oh, great. Is it like back to back, like Japanese style 2 candy cabs, or
you can do that? You can do that.
I mean,
we have multiples, but it's just the one that it's got like a kind of Ryu character that are fighting back and forth. It's
nice.
It's good. It's so good.
Yeah, that's cool. It's been fun seeing all the stuff people are making. Like the ability to easily pass around QR codes and different codes for custom designs and people. I didn't anticipate that the custom design on the ground thing would actually be good until I saw people doing super elaborate, nightmarish, like 16 square creations of that stuff. So that's been pretty fun to see.
Seen a lot of summoning circles.
I see. For me, it's just like, here's a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog, and there's no other trash like that. But
so the same thing.
Yeah. It's a different type of demon being summoned. I suppose.
Sonic also works with the law of equivalent exchange. It's very complicated.
Yeah. Speaking of demonic video games, Fallout 76.
What?
Their update hit today. Wastelanders. And the game came to Steam.
Should I get into Fallout 76?
Have you played any?
I've played
lately?
None.
Okay.
Ever.
I played this morning.
And
well, first of all, Jeff, is anyone there?
NPCs are here.
What?
Wow.
NPCs are here. No, so like I'm playing on Steam, which is it just came to Steam this morning, so I'm starting a new character and all. Not that I had some fucking high level Fallout 76 character to begin with, but as someone who only remembers the early parts of Fallout 76, they have reworked the whole thing to like point you to NPCs right out of the gate because NPCs are here.
NPCs are here.
NPCs are here. Click on this ad. It says NPCs are here. Click here. That's an ad, right? Was that an
ad? It's a real ass ad.
A real ad.
It's just a picture of a guy in power armor. It says Fallout 76 Wastelanders. NPCs are here. Buy now.
NPCs are here. Buy now.
Wow.
It's a really weird way. But I guess like whatever. That was something that definitely went around about that game. Like, hey, it doesn't even have an NPCs. It does. NPCs are there. And they've got basically, so you get out of the vault and you're immediately pointed to 2 humans, the NPCs that are there. And
I'm sorry, what's an NPC?
A non-player character. Non-player characters are here.
Oh.
So
where are they?
They're here.
Okay.
Before the game was largely, here's a bunch of robots and here's a bunch of terminals with things you can interact with and no actual NPCs walking around.
Here's a skeleton in a bathtub with a voice recorder next to him.
Or like, what is it? There was like the roaming merchant was like, that was like the one human character in the game, I think, right? It was like an orc, a super orc, right? Oh, was it a super orc that was selling you stuff?
I thought
it was a dude in a crazy cow or something. Anyway,
I love the crazy cow.
I love that. Yeah, I love crazy cow. I love crazy crab. That's the 2 my 2 favorite baseball mascots. Can't wait for baseball to get back so the crazy crab can return. So yeah, there's 2 characters who are just like, hey, we were told that there's treasure in the vault. So right out of the gate, you can be like, there's no fucking treasure in the vault, you dumbass, or lie to them and be like, oh yeah, no, it's all in there. And they point you to a bar, and you get to the bar, and the bar is being robbed. It's an NPC being robbed by another NPC. Well, a third NPC looks on, and then the third NPC
on each other
shoots the second NPC that's trying to rob the place, and and then you're doing quests for NPCs, and they're telling you how to build stuff. And it way more closely resembles an actual Fallout game than it did prior to this. So for whatever that's worth, like, I think my problems with the game back when we were playing it at launch were like far more structural, and so on, than around the mere absence of NPCs. But with those NPCs, which are here, I should add, they have added a whole quest line along with that. So if there's like more story in it and all that other stuff, I will say this: playing the first half hour of Fallout 76 again, it immediately seems like a better game than it was.
Sure. They've put a lot of work into it, right? I mean, like, there's been a lot of updates.
Not always great, like, obviously it's legendary how much they have like gone one step forward, two steps back on a lot of stuff over time.
Oh God,
are they still doing a subscription thing?
Yeah, you can still sign up for Fallout First, which is their subscription service, and you get.
And then weren't all the like non-subscription people forming revolts against anyone who had a subscription?
Anyone who had a subscription was getting beat the fuck down, or for a while there was a way for like people who were not subscribed to get into the good servers, the gated community servers. The 1% servers, the Fallout First Percent servers, whatever you want to call them, class war basically was happening at some point. I have not been following the game enough to know. Did people get the bags? I assume they got the bags. They got some bags. The bags were bad, and then the bags were good, and then the third-party power armor was full of mold, but that. Whatever, the list goes on and on.
I'm reading an article from June of 2019 saying that the bags were delivered.
Fantastic.
All right, the bags are here.
The bags are
also here. So that's good stuff. So I mean,
cool.
Hey, it seems like a better game than it was. I can't say with any authority whether I think it's a good game or not, because I did not play enough of it to weigh in on it there, but. Hey,
Jeff, you said enough,
still plugging away at
to pique my interest.
Great. Well, let's play Fallout 76 and Wastelanders.
And Ben and Jeff are now here. Great.
Yeah, I mean, here.
I'm an NPC, like in the like mean Twitter sense, so I'll fit right in.
Great.
Could
I role play as an NPC with other players?
No, because your name would show up over your head, and you would have a level, so you wouldn't be able to fool anybody.
Damn.
Like also like I was walking through the starter area, and like a super high level character just went like running by in like power armor, and I was like, huh, yeah, I guess someone's been playing this game for a long time. Like, people stuck with this thing. Someone did.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. There was a story on Kotaku saying like, hey, some players. Because you can set up a camp in that game, and then like basically when you log back in, you can deploy your camp at the same location, or it's there when you log out, but it's not like it's one big shared world. It's kind of you're instanced or whatever. And there are some players who may have set their camps up in areas that are now part of an NPC town, and that they may no longer be able to deploy their camp in that location. You can move camp. It's not it's not like end of the world type shit. But the changes to the world may be inconveniencing some players out there. I don't know. Bottle caps. Ben, you played some Valorant. I played some Valorant.
That's right.
You played a little more Valorant than I did. But I think we've come to a similar conclusion that, boy, they sure did overwatch a Counter-Strike.
Holy cow, is this really just Counter-Strike? I mean... Like,
is that a good thing?
Depends if you like Counter-Strike, I guess. I had watched a little bit of it before I had gotten my hands on it, and watching it, I was just like, this really does seem like Counter-Strike. They have stuff about hero abilities, right? So, okay, back up a little bit. This is Riots, first-person shooter, round-based. There is an attacker and a defender. Attacker is trying to plant the bomb. Defenders are trying to defuse the bomb. Similar sort of like you play 14 or so rounds and then swap sides.
You play a fucking billion rounds.
It really does feel like a billion rounds.
You click play, and then it's like growing like a foot-long beard by the end of it. And I'm like, oh God, my life.
And yeah, I mean, like, you know, you start with a pistol and $800, and you could buy a better pistol if you want. And if you win around, you get way more money. You can buy armor. And then, you know, there's, you know, a pistol, shotguns, assault rifles, and each of them has a couple different types. It's really just Counter-Strike, man.
I think was it you that said that they went ahead and made the sniper rifle that is basically the op and just called it
the operator.
The operator.
And everyone in the game just calls it the op.
The op.
There's also the bulldog, which is the bull-up rifle, and it's the
bullpup. That's a type of rifle that exists outside of that stuff.
In Counter-Strike, they call it the AUG, so it's the bulldog. It's a double pun. It's a bull-up AUG. Get it?
AUG is a real gun too.
Yeah, no, I know, Jeff, but like they could have not called it that.
Okay, yes, they could have not called it that. Anyway, so they've got 3 maps in this thing. They're letting people in if you start a bot that watches Valorant on Twitch nonstop. Maybe you too can be selling Valorant accounts with the 1.7 million bots. No, whatever. I'm sure there's plenty of actual humans in that number.
So I guess like the main difference is the hero. That you're actually playing a hero.
You're picking a character that has a specific look and loadout. Ability loadout, not guns. The guns are the guns. You buy the guns, round-based type stuff. But you have like kind of one ability that you get more or less for free, and then the other ones you have an ult that charges up.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how that works. You get like, so each ult has several pips. And each kill or each time you die kind of buffs the pips there. So if you're on a hot streak, you get your ult more frequently. But if you're dying a lot, you'll even get your ult once in a while, which I thought was nice because I was definitely dying a lot.
Yeah. And then like 2 more, I want to say it's 2 more abilities that you can buy with the same money that's part of your weapon pool.
And really so the character I played most of is kind of the character you play through on the tutorial. He's like a scout type character. There's different types, like there's the assault, there's the scout, and there's like a support class basically. And the dude had really the abilities, they were open about this. They're like, the abilities aren't something that you're going to be able to buy and then just dominate around with. They really want you to shoot people with your guns. So like the abilities aren't like, here's a magic fireball that I'm going to shoot out and kill somebody with. It's more of like, okay, the guy I'm on, his standard ability is kind of like you shoot an arrow at a wall and it does kind of a radial scan out and highlights any enemies nearby.
I mean, there is a character with a magic fireball, but it seems like that's more about area, like, is it area denial? Because like you can throw down fire on the ground, and then there's one that he'll like whip around a corner, like you can curve them and it'll it's like a flashbang.
Yeah, so they're really more like gear. They're like grenades or, you know, that sort of stuff. Less than like, you're not going to be able to only just rip people up with your abilities, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, like the reason people come to Counter-Strike and Counter-Strike-like games is to shoot guns. And so the abilities, I think, add a cool layer to it that obviously makes it a different game. But yeah, you're right. I think they've achieved that. The abilities don't necessarily seem like super powered or anything like that. But like the ability
if you
to
can't aim,
right?
Like if you can't aim and shoot well, you're not going to be great at the game.
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, like that scout character you're talking about, like he's got his arrow that will pulse enemies on your map. And then his ult will shoot an arrow through walls. So if you're quick about it, you can see, oh, there's someone right here, and then bop them with it, which is, you know, a combo. That's a thing you can do. You know, obviously the game is in some kind of closed beta here, so they're not done. I think they do a pretty bad job in the current build of the game of explaining all of the characters and abilities to you. I think that they probably need to be better about that. You can just get in. You can get into a private server alone or with other people and turn on cheats to give you infinite abilities and just fuck around, which is like, you know, that's probably a pretty good way to learn that stuff. And the other thing I'll say, I think we talked about this last week at some point. I think the graphics for the abilities look like shit.
They're real muddy.
Yeah, and hopefully that's something that it's like, hey, obviously this is a closed beta, the game's not finished, and they're working on it, but I think the characters and all that stuff look fine, but like a lot of the abilities, or there are a number of abilities that just go in a straight line, so it's like you're laying down like a lane of fire, and it's just razor thin. So if you're looking at it from the side, it looks like this crappy fire texture-y looking thing for a little bit, and then it eventually just goes away. But if you're looking at it dead on as you just laid it down, you don't really see it that much because it is such a straight line.
Yeah.
And it blocks vision, so it's like you can, which is tactical. But it just looks like you're just like laying down this shitty little wall out of like a 90s first-person shooter, and like the flashbang effect is effective at blinding the whole screen, but it just looks kind of bad. So I don't know if they've talked about, like, I haven't been following what they've been saying about, you know, the future of the game or whatever, but that stuff stood out as like, geez, that's really assy looking stuff on a lot of the abilities.
It doesn't look great. And I will say, to Riot's credit though, they League went through like several big graphical overhauls at certain points. So and I know they wanted to make this game basically runnable on like anything ever.
Totally. Like, so it's a game they want this game to run on PCs that are in some net cafe anywhere in the world or whatever. I'm sure that's probably that's got to be some ambition of theirs is to hit like an effective low spec version of the game. But yeah, that just stuck out to me as just like, man, this stuff looks really unfinished. So, and sure enough, the game is unfinished, so it is what it is.
I'm with you though. That sorry, how's the player base been like with interacting with other folks?
Every game I'm in, there is always 1 to 2 people who are extremely good at Counter-Strike, who have like 19 of 25 kills and are all up on the mic. And honestly, I don't mind it. Like, there's a very snappy built-in voice support. And so if you want to be on there, if you want to be coordinating, like, oh, they're A, come defend A, you know, you can be. Generally, people have been pretty chill, but a lot of teabagging, which I don't mind here because I feel like that's very Counter-Strike. You know, I feel like if the Halo and Counter-Strike to me are the 2 games that like I associate teabagging with, so I kind of give it a
teabag-friendly environments is what you're saying. Okay.
There are sprays, but of course no like custom cool porno sprays or anything.
Man, what the fuck? Come on, no, because they need to sell you the sprays.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're never going to give you custom sprays in a game where they can just sell you sprays. So that's life in the big city, baby. The game also, so I uninstalled it. I took I spent some time reading up on the kernel driver the game installs as part of its anti-cheat, which is running at all times, whether you're running the game or not. It basically starts at boot up, and I'm not super comfortable with that. That seems like a really shitty way. Also, people are cheating in the game, so it's not like, you know, they've acknowledged that, like, hey, we've seen some cheaters. It's like, okay, so it's invasive and not getting the job done.
Oh boy.
I want to say that they said that, hey, in this early going, they're taking a very passive stance on the cheating stuff just to see how it goes. But they did acknowledge that they've got some work to do on the cheater front. But they did not acknowledge, hey, this is a thing we're taking out. It's more just like, yep, that's what it does. And so when you first install the game, it makes you reboot your PC after the first time you run it, because it has to install that kernel driver, and then you need to reboot, and then you get to play the game. So people have come up with, I saw like a PowerShell script going around that basically uninstalls the anti-cheat stuff. It'll like launch the game, and then when you close the game, we'll uninstall the anti-cheat so that the driver is no longer running. But it means that anytime you run the game, you will have to reboot your PC first to reinstall that driver, which is not a great solution. And I'm not a big enough Counter-Strike fan to see myself playing a ton of it anytime soon. I'll keep tabs on it for sure. But between those two things, I was just like, you know what? If we're going to do something with Valorant later on, I will reinstall it. If we're going to get a team together and stream it or something like that, but I'm not just going to leave it installed in its current state. That just doesn't seem like a good way to handle that stuff. Not that other games have not tried to handle this stuff in similar ways, of course, but
right.
Yucky.
did not seem cool.
Street Fighter V infamously was doing that.
Right. Well, yeah. Yes. It's a long history of awesome DRM and
that Capcom's integrated
and anti-cheat stuff over time. I want to say the build of Windows I'm running like can't even handle certain anti-cheat software. Right? Like I think anything that uses BattleEye I can't play because I'm on a Windows Insider build, and they haven't fixed some compatibility issue there. So I don't remember. It might be Battlefield. I can't remember who uses that stuff, but there's some specific anti-cheat that does not currently work with the preview builds of Windows 10. I am level 51 in Phantasy Star Online 2.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
The level cap is 75.
Wow.
Getting there.
You're getting there. Yeah.
Getting there.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
Seeing your way through those menus. And yeah, that's impressive.
Here's the thing, Jason.
Uh-huh.
I understand most of those menus now.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Right?
It's attached itself in a way that you weren't quite expecting. Oh, good.
Now I know, like, I need to affix this. I had to make some mistakes. I ruined a gun. I went to go basically add traits to a gun without realizing that it was removing all of the good traits the gun already had in the process.
Oops.
But so that led to me then going into a player store, because if you are currently paying for a premium set, which is their subscription equivalent, you buy in 30-day chunks or 90-day chunks if you want. Which don't. But also, you can run your own shop. And so there are some high-end assault rifles in that shop. And so I spent, I believe, 1.8 million Meseta on a reasonably high-level gun.
Whoa.
And just basically with all of the in-game current, because I haven't been spending a lot of money on anything. It's because you get so many drops and there's so much garbage that you're just selling stuff all the time, or feeding guns to other guns, or feeding guns to your mag, or feeding armor to armor, or no, you don't feed anything to armor but grinders. Sorry, I misspoke.
I'm glad you clarified.
Yeah. That game is fucked in a lot of ways. That's I think I might review it. I kind of want to see, because they're still calling it an open beta, and I want to see. I started reading up on what's the player base, because there's a lot of people playing it. Like every time I log in, there's a bunch of people. Blocks are full. Like it's free to play. So there's a lot of people out there fucking doing it. And so I finally sought out where's the community for the North American servers, and what are they talking about? And so I found myself
PSO
on Reddit.
World.
Bumps.org. I found myself over there. No, that's the thing, is a lot of the sites that were devoted to Japanese PSO2 are still devoted to Japanese PSO2.
Oh, wow.
Because the games are pretty fucking far out of sync. And so it's been a lot of I think I talked about this a little bit last week, but it's a lot of people saying well, what's a good build? And then longtime players responding with, wait till they raise the level cap and then we can talk. You shouldn't even give a fuck. Level 75, who cares? Until it's 85, don't even talk to me about end games. Just weird. So I don't know if that's something that they're gonna try to catch up by the end of whatever they term open beta, or if the game just is what it is and they're gonna have a totally separate update cadence from the Japanese version, or what the plans are there. I'd like to find out. I'm gonna have to get a hold of them, because I don't know if they've been out there talking about that stuff too much. Maybe we can get some questions off to them about it.
So how much of this stuff, you mentioned, premium subscriptions, could you get Meseta from that in order to buy these?
No.
Higher end guns, or?
No, I don't know if there's any ways to turn premium currency into the grind currency, but also you get so much of that shit.
Oh, right.
There are quests I'm completing that's just here's 300,000 Meseta. I'm
gotcha.
All right. And so I spent that 1.8 million or whatever it was. I still have 2.5 million left.
Okay.
And so I'm ready to, when I get my ranged stat up high enough, I'm ready to go buy whatever the next best PSO2 gun is, or just try to figure out where it drops and whatever. But there's still like 2 tile sets, like two areas I haven't gone to. Because there's kind of a lot of content compared to the last time I played that game years ago. Like there are like 14 different areas now.
Okay.
I want to say
I would expect you to be recycling through like areas.
I am, but that's because I'm like going on multiple quests and doing stuff and like, okay, let's go back to the forest and do this now. And so like I've unlocked, like there are 4 difficulties. I've unlocked the final, the super hard difficulty.
Inferno.
Yeah. Advanced quests, extreme quests, all this other stuff. So, and so my conclusion is that game's a free-to-play Diablo that made a lot of poor choices about how they monetize. But if you like Diablo and that style of game, just like original PSO was a console Diablo, this is still that. It's just clunky and fucked up and has 8 years of shit
bolted on
top of it that didn't help make it any easier to understand. And so they've made this ridiculous hill to climb.
And that's where it kind of lost me, I have a great affinity, a great love for PSO, but it's the menus, it's just the grind, it's the free to playness of that game.
And it's
which is a huge turn off. But
like a lot of the free to play stuff that is, or a lot of the free to play things in that game that make it make you want to pay are convenience things, but they're convenience things that are, once you get a taste of them, you're like, oh, this is actually kind of vital for how the game is built. By default, you can only take on 20 quests at a time. And those will be the things from like, kill 10 rats to complete this mission or whatever. If you are a premium set person, or I think you can buy this separately, but it's still on a timer. You can raise that to 40, but you can't raise it to 40 permanently.
Right.
You can raise it to 40 in 30-day chunks. And it sucks, man. That's just such a shitty way to handle this stuff. And there's a lot of inventory expansion and stuff like that is also temporary. And I haven't had to use any of that. There's permanent inventory expansion that you can pay for. And I did. And that's been enough. But it's frustrating because you look at it and think like, man, if someone could make these choices again here now in the year 2020, they wouldn't make these same decisions. They would monetize this game very differently in a way that I think would make it a better game.
But they're so well in this groove that there's just no way to get out of that now.
Totally. I mean, it's and also like I really think, if I had to guess, a lot of the decision to bring the game to the US is driven by the game already exists. We can just do it over here. And so if you ask them to totally rebuild just the money making part of it, while keeping that going in Japan the way it has been for 8 years, it just wouldn't work. You'd have like Japanese players getting pissed off, like, oh, they get a game that's like much more friendly on the money front, and vice versa. So that led to me reinstalling the Japanese version of PSO2, which
oh boy,
where I have like a level 29 character, which is not that high in the grand scheme of things. But when I try to launch it, it just crashes. It crashes Windows hard. I get a green screen of death.
That's worse than blue.
Way worse than blue. And I'm pretty sure that the first time that happened, it also deleted a bunch of the shortcuts on my start menu to apps. Unless something else happened yesterday that caused all that, because suddenly like I hit the Windows key and type Discord and nothing comes up. I'm like, fuck.
Scary.
Like
that's messed up.
My start menu got gutted, and I don't know if it's from installing PSO2 or some other dumb shit I did.
Valorant got mad.
Valorant, like also that was the same day that I uninstalled fucking Valorant.
You're cheating on me with another game.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Maybe there's some other larger issue, but yeah, like 10 or 20 different apps that I use on a regular basis suddenly had no start menu entries anymore. Like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, so I don't know. Like, eventually PSO2 will come to the PC. The North American version of PSO2 will come to the PC, and I'll be curious to see what they do to update it. But at the same time, yeah, they're pretty locked into this monetization groove, so I don't see them updating it in ways that will make it any friendlier or easier to understand. So it's kind of like either you're going to ignore that stuff, which you can totally do. You can get pretty far in that game. I played 20 hours of that game in Japanese, not understanding any of those fucking menus at all before there were fan translation patches and all that other stuff. So, like, yeah, you can just get in there and shoot shit. But, you know, if you really want to get into it, you have to kind of climb that mountain of like, all these menus suck, and I now have a keyboard hooked up to my Xbox because I need the hotbar. I need numbers.
Goodness.
I need to be able to hit trimate buttons on the keyboard instead of navigating over with the D-pad and all this other shit. And also, I need to be able to type to people. I need to be able to invite people to the alliance that is damn near requires a keyboard. Like, I'm this close from plugging a mouse in too, honestly,
right.
because like the late game, a lot of the later game quests are about make sure you're killing these enemies with by hitting them in their weak points.
In their weak points, yeah.
Yeah, which like if I'm not using a mouse, that does happen, but you're not forcing it the way you could if you were playing with a mouse and keyboard. And so I've had moments where I've been like, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a USB hub in the garage.
Right.
Oh, no.
And then I could hook up a mouse and a keyboard instead of just a keyboard. And, but I've yet to do that. The only reason I'm doing a keyboard is because I have a keyboard here to hook up to my Mister. So I have a USB keyboard, an extra USB keyboard sitting right here at all times anyway.
Right. So if you had a mouse just within arm's reach.
And I do, because it's hooked up to the Mister.
There we go.
But I don't have enough ports on this Xbox because I've got a hard drive plugged in and other stuff like that. So,
man.
So if
so close.
If I could find my Rock Band USB hub, the classic USB hub of console players everywhere. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know.
We'll check in.
I even beat the story mode.
I didn't know that there was a.
They've hidden it so far in the back.
Yeah.
So the game had story stuff like we've woven into it originally, and at some point they must have decided, no one needs to see this shit anymore. We're gonna move it over here. So then you hit a button and get a cutscene from a character going like, "Man, there's sure a lot of monsters in this forest." Boom. End cutscene. Loading screen. Back to select the next cutscene. It's like a cutscene viewer, but you're seeing all these cutscenes for the first fucking time, and then on top of that, every like 20 cutscenes, it's like, this one's a quest. You get to fight a boss. And you're like, what? You get to fight a boss that you've never seen before. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
Is it cool?
You earned a title for completing this. Yeah. No. I mean, do you like anime?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then maybe you'll get off on some aspects of the story where, like, you know, the way Dark Falls comes back is part of that story. I'll say. I won't spoil it for people that want to watch these fucking cutscenes.
How many in-game concerts have you seen?
I saw one during open beta, and I'm pretty. I got the notification for one happening, but I was in a quest, and by the time I got to where the concert was happening, everyone was running away from the area. Like I just missed it. So
damn it! If those are happening weekly, I'm back in.
They do have a schedule. The concerts are happening on a somewhat regular basis. So.
Okay, maybe I will.
But if I had to guess, I'm going to say it's probably the same concert every fucking time.
God damn it.
Because they'll have like urgent quests pop off like on a schedule where it's like, hey, for half an hour, you're going to be able to take on this quest. But there are like 4 of them. Or 3. It might even be 3. So I've done the fight Dark Falls hand. I've done like the fight the evil looking hand from Smash Brothers, but without a glove because it's way more twisted and red. And then
does another hand show up?
There are like 5 of them.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa. 5 hands?
I know.
They all high five each other.
2.5 times better than Smash.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Except you cannot turn off items. And then like whatever they consider like the final boss confrontation is the second part of that. And I've done that probably 20 times now. And most of the times the drops are garbage.
Oh no!
But I'm playing on higher difficulties each time, so you know, eventually maybe I'll get to the good drops. Probably not.
No.
You probably have to go on extreme. Every 22 hours, you can approach a counter and get an extreme pass, which lets you go on an extreme quest.
No.
Jeff, it sounds like you should just get into gacha games full on.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Sounds like you're ready. It sounds like you're warming yourself up to really get into Grand Blue and all this other.
I mean, Arknights is kind of fun.
I will not.
I don't want to say it, but it's kind of fun.
I will not. We're gonna go to break here. It sounds like it's all the games.
Just got some apps to install.
Yeah, I got a list. Give me a list of these apps here. I mean, I've heard a lot about them. The other thing is Receiver 2 came out. Do you remember Receiver? Anyone remember Receiver?
No.
It was a PC game, indie, weird, like relatively weird thing. I remember buying it. It's on Steam now, but at some point it was not, if I remember correctly. And I remember buying it and downloading some beta of it. And it was like, their whole thing was just like, we're simulating all these parts of the gun. It's not just a shooter. We're simulating the gun.
Yeah, I'm watching this trailer. It's gun porn.
And so Receiver 2 is out today.
Nice.
And this is where my note comes in, where I've written down, can you fuck the guns? Because now they're saying they're simulating every part of the gun. And I'm like, every part? Including the parts I could fuck?
You go to the right convention, you can fuck anything.
Exactly.
Much. Yeah.
So
you said it's out?
I want. Yes, it's out today.
Is it a different team? Because I'm on the. Did somebody else take over?
I have no idea. I have no idea the lineage of Receiver to Receiver 2, but Receiver 2 is out, and I'm pretty sure you can fuck the guns.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah.
The first screenshot is in a bathroom on the Receiver 2 Steam page, so I think you can fuck the guns.
I think you can fuck the guns. I intend to find out once this show is over. I'm gonna fuck me a gun. That's the plan.
Excellent.
We're gonna take a break. We'll come back with news after this. Okay, if you're within the sound of my voice, then I'm going to make two assumptions about you. Number one, you'll like to listen to podcasts. I mean, this is just common sense. Everyone likes listening to podcasts. Number two, you like fun. You like to have it. You appreciate listening to people who are having it. You're all about this fun. Well, you're in luck because there's a new podcast on the scene that also loves to combine these two things. That's right. It's a fun podcast. And it stars the best tag team to use the Freebird rule since the Freebirds, the New Day. Don't let their day jobs fool you. This isn't just a wrestling podcast. There's more to the New Day Feel the Power than big meaty men bumping meat. They cover all kinds of stuff, from the Golden Girls to Babalities to, well, actually this week's show covers Cesaro Appreciation Day, an extremely deserving topic if I do say so myself. I mean, he's the Swiss Superman. What more do you want? Spend a little time with Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods every Monday. There is a catch, though. Sometimes the producer, some rube who probably thinks that egg whites are made out of shells or that Mario Party is a game of skill, pops up. Just ignore him. He has no idea what he's talking about. All right, enough about Dan Reichert. Subscribe to The New Day, Feel the Power, right now wherever you get your podcasts on. That's The New Day, Feel the Power, with new episodes every single Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, Google Podcasts, you name it. Chexquest HD.
What?
No way.
Holy smokes.
That's going to be delicious.
Two-player. Looks like there's going to be a Chexquest HD on Steam.
Oh, the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the important question. Can I get it out of a cereal box?
It looks like it's just going to be on Steam for free.
Oh, okay.
But one of these screenshots has a redeem code box in it, so maybe you could get codes out of cereal box.
I played through all of Chexquest on this very website.
Oh,
and how did that go? How do you feel about that?
It was all right. It was a pretty competent Quake clone.
Yeah. The screenshots of this look different. They're billing it as like a remaster. I don't know. We're here to talk about the news. Top story, Chexquest HD. Second story. Hey, remember last week when they announced that PlayStation 5 controller in the middle of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a week to marinate on it, to think about it, roll it around the old nugget.
Yep.
How's everybody feeling?
It's
1 week
fugly.
later.
It's fugly. It's like future fugly.
Future ugly. Fugly. I think that's what that means.
Gotcha.
I'd like if it was a solid color instead of like the two-tone they got going on.
The little antenna gap on either side of the touchpad, it is driving me nuts. It's like, just close it or something, or make it bigger. It's
like my router.
It's too thin. I don't like it. It looks like a Totoro. If you put
Oh yeah,
doesn't that look like Totoro?
Oh, I like it all over.
I love
Do you
Totoro.
think the PlayStation 5 will look like a futuristic cat bus?
If
Yes.
only.
All right, then I'm on board. I think my concerns are all about there's this the shot that shows kind of the height of the buttons and D-pad, and maybe it's fine. We won't know until we can touch it, but something about that shot makes those buttons look like they have a shorter throw.
Yeah.
And I'm not that doesn't sound great, but
that's the thing, is like, I've never much cared for how a controller looks. I just let me touch it, let me hold it. I have to worry about, hand size and all that, because like even a DualShock 4 here. Like,
you just enveloped that entire thing with your
Where's the
hand.
controller go?
I already have to play it like this, so hopefully it's a little better.
Yeah, I think that's my main thought on it. The color stuff, I'm like, it looks okay. There was one John T. Drake, formerly of PlayStation, now of Disney, who made a remark saying it was interesting that that's the colorway they went with to show it, which I don't know if that means that he saw different versions of this. Anyway, they're like I don't know, I don't know what the situation is, if this is the only version of the controller that will happen at launch, or if this is just a prototype or whatever. I don't know if they've necessarily, gone through that, but they do call this the final design. But yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously they'll iterate on it color wise over the generation, but I wonder if this will end up being how it looks at launch, or if they will go with a different color or multiple colors at launch, or whatever it is. I think it looks black and white. I think it's like, it stands out, but I could see myself liking different versions of this controller better. So of course people have gone ape shit designing their own custom colorways and slapping, I don't know, the Three Stooges, popular IP onto the controller.
Oh, I just saw like a naked anime lady. Here's a question.
Like in your mind, or
no, a mock-up, and then later on in my mind.
I thought you had the same thing I do.
What do you call those buttons? There's a I saw this going around on Twitter, right? There's the two buttons that are replacing. One's replacing share, and one is options or whatever. But they're signified with 3 horizontal lines over one, and 3 lines like kind of exploding out of the other.
One of them is like, one of them is like called the create button now, isn't it?
Yeah. So the left one has gone from share to spray. Yeah. Burger. No, share to create.
Oh, I thought the left one is burger.
The burger is probably still just options, I imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Burger options.
Burger and spray. You're really going to hand somebody a PS5 controller and say, press the spray button.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for Infamous, because, if you think about like the only game that used any kind of like 6-axis like motion control, it was Infamous, when you had to shake it like a rattle can to do some spray painting. So yeah, spray. Naturally. They dedicated a button to that for the next Infamous game.
I also like honk. Honk works. That's like a honk sound effect for that Goose Game.
Yeah.
So are you saying that the PS5 controller has a built-in soundboard?
Yes, exactly.
Great. All right.
Sold day one.
Here.
I'm in.
That whole touchpad is just one big button for sound.
Great. Yeah.
It makes a sound.
That'll make it more useful than the touchpad was through the entire PS4 generation.
Only if I can like hit the burger button and then record a sound on the fly, and it comes out super garbled.
I had that. So they sold those for Xbox 360 controllers.
That was a thing?
Yeah. So you plugged it into the mic jack, and it was a little voice. It was like a little voice recorder, but you'd also preload it with sounds from other sources. So basically, like it had another mic jack on the other end of it, and so you could plug in whatever and record, someone saying "eat shit" and the sound of a machine gun and the sound of a bomb dropping. All the classic keychain soundboard sounds, or whatever. Let's and then you just had a little mini soundboard at the bottom of your Xbox controller, which was just fucking terrible. I think I bought it on Woot because that's how fucking much of a winning idea it was. It was on Woot, like it probably launched on fucking Woot. If they brought back that functionality, I mean, it does have a, it got a mic jack,
right? Yeah,
it's got a mic jack on the bottom of it, so
and a built-in mic.
And a built-in mic, yeah. So I guess with a mic jack, you could just plug it into a PC. I could route all audio out of this PC into a controller. I could do that today. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, you've had that power.
I could be really annoying a lot of people.
Totally.
More so than I do already.
Nah.
Man. Shit. All right.
What a world.
I've got a lot of work to do. They're probably gonna remake Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, were we talking last week about the remakes and that
and how it doesn't need one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that they should go like the order they came out, maybe.
Yeah. The Video Games Chronicle has kind of broken and then reconfirmed, and then that's been since corroborated by other sources that went out. I think last week maybe it was just an insider, a leaker. But yeah, we've basically got more people kind of piling on and saying like, yeah, the story is here. They're probably looking to release a Resident Evil 4 remake with an estimated release window, according to the story, of 2022. And that it's in development at M2, which is a new studio from Tatsuya Minami.
Former Platinum, right?
Yeah. So the implication here, I think, is there are multitudes, there are layers here. There's a burger here, if you will. Why wouldn't they remake Code Veronica, for example?
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Why would they skip Code Veronica in this?
Because they can make more money from 4.
Yeah.
That's
how is Code Veronica looked at as with Resident Evil fans?
So I only really remember how it was viewed at the time of release, which like people were fucking apeshit about that game. People were like, "Oh fuck!" People loved Code Veronica.
Yeah,
they were extremely excited about the Resident Evil coming to Dreamcast. So that was probably played a factor, right? Of like, oh, it's going to be Resident Evil coming to the Dreamcast. It's going to look better. It's going to be this different thing. That was the game that they brought back. Jill, right? Claire. Resident Evil stuff is not my forte. But I remember people being fucking bananas about that game. I think as time went on, it kind of faded into the background of like no one's really talking about it anymore.
Interesting.
And maybe the sentiment has turned a little bit on that, which probably makes it ripe to be remade. I mean, Resident Evil 4 is the shoot, Resident Evil 4 stood out because it was so different from every game that came before it, and
2 remake did so well because it reimagined the combat of 2 and brought it to a modern style, much like 4 kind of already did way back in the day.
And then how many times have they re-released 4?
Let me pull it up.
It's like 3 times. I mean, like how many remakes of this has there already fucking been?
All right, ports. Oh boy, this is a long. There's the Wii edition,
more or less than Skyrim.
The mobile edition, which I don't know what that is. The iPad edition, 4 HD for Xbox Live and PSN. Resident Evil 4 Ultimate HD for Windows. It was released on Android and then Switch in 2019.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot.
Yeah.
To then come out like it's already exists in this generation of current consoles to then say like, oh, by the way, we're going to do it again in a year's time seems kind of crazy. But also it's such a popular game that it will certainly attract attention.
Yeah, it'll introduce it to a new audience, right? There's kids probably who didn't play for. Like, I feel like Jan and I were probably right around the bottom edge of age range of people who were playing that game. So anyone younger than us probably didn't really come to fore. Maybe too scary for the little kids.
And it'd be cool, I guess the cool thing about remaking Resident Evil 4 is it gives them a shot to make the shooting good this time.
It's insane. It's insane.
No,
actually, maybe they'll be able to fix issues regarding color blindness in that game.
So that's actually I've talked about it before. I think the big problem with that game is that all the aiming is done via a red dot sight type thing that I could not see for shit. So
you guys think you'll be able to move while shooting this time, or will they?
Can you do that in 2?
Attention.
Yes. Maybe like a good Counter-Strike, they'll let you move while you shoot, but why would you want to? You'll be so inaccurate. Plant your feet.
So there's a lot of teams on this. It's not just M2. It's a bunch of internal teams that are
way more
a bigger crew than worked on.
Yeah, so that they're putting muscle behind it for sure. But what's also interesting is that this is an unproven director as well. So they asked Mikami to come back to direct this, but he's working on other stuff. So they've got somebody else directing it as somebody who's unproven, which lends to say that maybe this is going to go in a different direction, that it's going to be much more than just a redo. It's going to be a full-on remake.
I would hope so. And that's kind of the things that makes what they did with 2 and 3 stand 2 more so than 3, but they stand out because they've done so much.
Right.
Yeah,
it's easy to look at 4 and say 4 is already a pretty modern game.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, but that doesn't mean they couldn't do more. So
totally. My thoughts immediately go to all the bosses with QuickTime events that had really frustrated me back in the day, and there's definitely some elements of that game that can be updated. The save system,
modernized,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it looks like they're putting muscle behind it. They've got a new direction. I'm really anxious to see.
They must have a lot of faith in this guy, because this will be a big thing for him to mess up if he messes it up, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And Capcom, whatever, we've had the conversation about Capcom and remakes, but then they've gone on to produce very acclaimed remakes.
Good ones,
recently anyway. They've certainly had their share of bad ones over the years, but
here's a question. Do you think they just completely get rid of or super duper change up all the Ashley stuff?
I think they'll have to change it up. I don't think they would make her as helpless in a modern game like she was originally.
They have 2 Ashleys.
Yeah.
Give Ashley a gun. Just
give it.
Yeah, what if they do that actually?
And then it's a co-op game. Was it just Resident Evil 5?
No, God, no.
So, okay, that's my next question. Do you think they remake 5?
They're going to remake 7 next.
Right. But yeah, whatever. They'll put out 8 at some point and whatever. But they're kind of running out of road when it comes to the Resident Evil games people universally care about. If they're skipping Code Veronica, I don't know if they do 5 and 6.
There's no reason why they can't go back to Code Veronica after this.
Sure, yeah.
I think they're aiming for 4 because
I thought you were going to say there's no reason they can't go back and just start remaking them all over again. After
no,
that's
actually
never
true.
Did one.
We've got a new console coming out, this year. That's road for them to.
Well, presumably
RE4
would appear there, I would think.
Yeah.
If we're talking 2021,
but if we're talking about HD or 4K remakes, God,
remake 7 with better VR,
totally. Yeah, there's.
I mean, that's Capcom. That's Capcom remaking games. Even the games that aren't remakes are still kind of remakes. Except for Monster Hunter World,
right?
And that game that came out on Apple Arcade that is on Switch now, I think, the underwater thing. It's the only, what's the last original game Capcom did before that? That
7?
wasn't. Yeah, I was gonna say that wasn't like part of some franchise. That wasn't like
gotcha. Oh shit, I don't know.
Yeah,
I honestly don't know.
which whatever. That's the
Lost
tactic. Those are the
Planet?
tactics that
No, it can't be that.
can't be.
Somebody in chat said Dragon's Dogma. Maybe?
Yeah, Dragon's
Okay.
Dogma might be. I was gonna say, did Zack and Wiki come out after that?
Make a porno.
Dark Void. Is it Dark Void? Can we get a Dark Void HD remake? Can we get that?
We've already seen a demake, haven't we?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that game's all right. But you know what?
Yeah.
Dark Void and that Dark Void remake, decent games.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the
Good
time.
music.
Yeah.
In the demaker.
Let's just get a new Bionic Commander Rearmed. Let's just go down that rabbit hole again. Bionic Commander Rearmed 1.
I don't know. Remake 1. Remake 1. Not 2.
Yeah. Well, yes, remake 1 for sure. 2 had a mustache. You could jump. Both ill-advised changes.
Yes. Mustache was a good choice, but
it's good on
the
paper.
ability to jump.
Practice, I don't think it worked for him. And then obviously
Piano 3.
Yeah, remake the reboot of Bionic Commando.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that. I like that game.
Oh, me too.
It's good. The ESRB is going to start including a reference to random items as part of their designation for in-game purchases. So, obviously, the rating is the main thing. Is it T? Is it M? Is it E10 plus? Is it whatever? They've got descriptors to the side like smoking and violence and mayhem and you can fuck the guns or whatever the different descriptors.
Gun fucking.
That one's new.
Yeah,
nudity
that
tags.
Also, yeah, partial. They do have a couple of nudity tags, I think. And now, in addition to saying, "Hey, this game has in-game purchases," they will also say this game has in-game purchases, and then in parentheses includes random items to imply a game has loot boxes.
That's soft. That's too soft. The parentheses denote softness.
So, I mean, you want to talk about
take the parentheses out.
Yeah,
that needs to be a full bullet point. Like includes random items.
You want to talk softness? It's the year 2020, and they're finally adding this after a ton of games have shifted into battle passes and other things that eliminate random items from the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be on like what 70% of games now.
Yeah,
but it won't be. I mean, in-game purchases will be, but will the random items one appear as a part of that? Because what games are left where you're really getting random items out of things? I guess Destiny 2 has cosmetic, like you can get engrams that are random items, but you can also just buy items.
Go buy a retail copy of League of Legends.
Yeah.
Or Overwatch. Overwatch 2 will probably have it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah,
maybe.
Totally.
Unless they change it.
I doubt they'll change it.
Yeah, maybe they won't. But also, I wonder, like, will this apply to the base rating? Once, like, will including random items in a game be something that's more likely to get you a T? Well, I guess whatever. Overwatch is already a shooter, so it's probably already a T, right? Yeah.
Includes random items.
Polygon asks about how it will handle ratings for games that ship without in-game purchases with random items, but add them later and receive an explanation. Publishers are required to inform us if they intend to add in-game purchases, randomized or otherwise. This will affect the assigned rating information post-release. Once the changes are evaluated, we update they update the website and require the publisher to include updated information on game packaging, marketing materials, and web pages going forward. So there still is a way for them to ship a game that doesn't say that on the back of the box and then say, like, oh, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like so late to be doing that. Like that was something that was more necessary before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was necessary for us, like for consumers, I guess, but not for them.
Well, yeah,
to follow the letter of the law, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, how much law actually got passed in this country?
Yeah.
Like it was all threats about like, hey, what the fuck's going on? And then A lot of stuff has happened since then.
I'm using law in quotes.
Yeah.
And
like a Judge Dredd, like I am the law type of law.
Right.
Okay. The Nikkei is reporting that Nintendo has halted Switch shipments as they're unable to keep up with demand due to supply chain disruptions caused by the coronavirus. This is something that I think it's been going on for a while. It seems like the Switch has been getting harder and harder to find. They have a quote from a source at Nintendo in this thing that just says, "We haven't been able to keep up the supply," which, yeah. But the source also said operations at the factories in China and Vietnam have recovered to a certain point, but have yet to return to full capacity. And that Nintendo said in early February that shipments of the Switch and certain games were being delayed. So, yeah, this is something like we've seen kind of the supply of Switches and obviously like Ring Fit drying up all over the place. It seems like this is now like going to settle in. So if you've got a sealed Switch, you could probably make some money on it.
You could, or you could just sell it for retail, like I just did, because I'm a good person.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, you could be a good person.
Right.
I was talking to some friends of mine who don't have a Switch, but were like asking me questions about it. And it seemed like for them at least, and I feel like this is probably true for a lot of people, the thing that obviously other than being quarantined, but just seeing tons of Animal Crossing posts was really driving a lot of people to like want to get in. And I feel like that's such a good game to appeal to non-gamers, in quotes. And just like, you know, it's very easily shareable. Everyone's like sharing off their cute island and stuff. And I feel like people were like, oh, let me get a Switch and I can play Animal Crossing too. And it's just like $500, $600.
Yeah, they're like, oh God, I don't know that I can even find one right now. Yeah, that's Animal Crossing has been getting a fair amount of like mainstream kind of crossover press over the last week.
I saw the Monterey Bay Aquarium is doing like live webinar stuff from their aquarium inside Animal Crossing, which I thought was really fucking cool.
That's pretty cool. Might be a good time to sell your Switch anyway. No. Look, take this with several grains of salt, but someone out there in the InfoSec community, a reverse engineer by the name of Mike Heskin, who goes by Hexquest, if I'm pronouncing that right. Nintendo released firmware 10.0.0, I believe yesterday, if not today. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. And as people have been tearing the new firmware apart to see what's in there, there's a claim here that that maybe they are thinking they have included preliminary support for a new hardware model designated the NX-ABCD, which, you know, probably some temporary type thing if that's the case. And he goes on to say that there's evidence of a secondary display of sorts being added exclusively on this model.
Secondary. What do you mean by secondary display?
Like, what if it had two screens?
What?
And folded up like a clamshell?
Mm-hmm. Or what, you know, or I don't know. Like, you know, obviously that's just someone tearing apart a firmware. We assume that's accurate, which I feel like I've looked at this guy's Twitter before about different reverse engineer firmware type stuff over the years, if I'm remembering correctly. What if it's a Switch that can output to a TV without a dock? Or what if it's a Switch that can function like a Wii U?
Yeah, it seems like a secondary display kind of thing, not like a dupe display. That's what you mean?
Yeah, well, it's saying secondary. The tweet says secondary display of sorts, and doesn't really seem to elaborate on that.
They're gonna remake Four Swords Adventure. Capcom.
There you go.
Yes.
It wouldn't be hinting at maybe like DS games coming to the Switch, because it's full on saying that's like a second display entirely, right?
The implication there is that this would, and you know, I'm kind of, I guess I'm reading into this because there's not a lot of info here. hardware.
Right.
But the implication is that a secondary display of sorts, which I take to mean something closer to Wii U-esque functionality of two different things on the screens.
I see.
Whether that's the TV and the Switch, or if that's some new revision. I mean, also kind of saying that, hey, there's there's kind of multiple profiles for this type of hardware listed in there, and secondary display of sorts. Which who knows, but it kind of gets the mind going. But also says that all this stuff is more or less, it doesn't seem like it's hinting at any kind of like major power increase either. So it's not like, hey, Switch Pro, it's going to do 4K, this and that. It's like this is still in the same lane as the existing Switch. Maybe it's a VMU.
Oh,
right?
that'd be cool.
Yeah, no.
Maybe it's a Wonder Swan.
Maybe it's a Wonder Swan. Yeah. So that's
What if you put it in Tate mode for games for now?
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Yeah. All right. It's
Simulate
just
two
they like that
screens.
flip grip thing so much that they just said, fuck it. That's the Switch now.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
Switch tall.
Yeah. Switch tall. Blizzard is put a post up on the internet, as they are prone to do, and
for better or worse.
For better or worse, they have posted on the internet, and the bottom line is at this point, it's too early to know whether BlizzCon 2020 will be feasible. So
when does it normally happen?
Gosh, that's always Extra Life. In the Extra Life window, isn't it? I feel like we're doing Extra Life on the same day, and we're watching the BlizzCon opening ceremony. So that's always like
November 1st was it last year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just them kind of saying like, hey, we've been getting questions about BlizzCon and all this other stuff, and it says that they are still working to finalize plans, and that they are considering a range of scenarios and possibilities, not just in terms of the show, but also regarding what the experience would be for you, and that they'll try to provide as much clarity as they can, as quickly as they can, because obviously people, when they do go to BlizzCon, they may have to make travel arrangements and stuff of that nature. I'm going to go on a limb here and say BlizzCon does not happen as a publicly attended event, and that they just go ahead and stream something.
Yeah.
I hope they at least stream something. I really want to know what's happening with Diablo.
Overwatch 2.
You should check out Phantasy Star Online too. No, they've presumably they've got games to talk about, right? So
yeah.
Between Overwatch and Diablo. So
was BlizzCon last year the very weird Borderlands 3 presentation, or am I imagining that?
No, that was PAX.
PAX.
That was PAX.
PAX
Okay,
Borderlands. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
There's a long list of weird Borderlands presentations over the years, but I was in Alex's car driving from New York to Boston while that was going on, kind of halfway watching it on my phone. And every time I turned it on, it was just more of Randy Pitchford doing card tricks, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
I remember watching that trailer with you, Jan, frame by frame, to try and see if we could find Claptrap dabbing.
God, yeah. What simpler times?
Yeah. CD Projekt Red, they are out there working on Cyberpunk 2077, and during an earnings call, according to Video Games Chronicle, let's see here. A significantly enhanced version of the game will be released for next generation consoles, but it will not be a launch game.
Okay.
And so they have previously said that people who buy it on Xbox One will get they will get the full blown experience on Xbox Series X if they go that route for free, no additional money. That version will just move on up, which is what Microsoft has said they'll be doing for their first party stuff. And cool. But it will not be a launch game, and I don't know that it's in this store. That's okay. Yeah.
Did they mention a window at all, or
no?
Nope. We get nothing.
No,
they get nothing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
CD Projekt Red.
So, but as far as the PlayStation stuff is concerned, because obviously, if Xbox owners are going to get a free upgrade path if they decide to move to the Xbox Series X, the question is, okay, what happens if you buy it on PS4 and then get a PS5 somewhere down the line?
Yep.
Will it just run the PS4 version, or will you upgrade for free? And the quote they have here is, there's no official announcement coming from PlayStation, so we can't really confirm or deny anything. It's PlayStation that first needs to address these issues, and then we're happy to make a comment, but we can't jump the gun ahead of them. So it's kind of up to Sony. If Sony decides to allow developers to go that free upgrade route, which I have to imagine they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not something they're just going to seed ground on to be like, oh, Microsoft said the developers can do it for free, but we want to make you pay 10. Like, it's just, I don't see that happening. But they have not made those sorts of announcements around the PS5, so no one can say anything. I bet people know, but until Sony makes their announcements, no one can get out there and say anything. And during the earnings call, they reiterated that the game's on track to hit the September date. So they are still trucking along, looking to get that game out.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
I believe in
I
you.
wonder how that'll... I hope that game's good.
I know.
I hope that game's better than here's a flashier Deus Ex.
Right.
That's my...
Yeah, I'm still... It's weird because they showed off that first initial E3 demo, and everyone was pretty hyped off of it. And then just kind of nothing since, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, they had like multiple E3s where they showed stuff, right?
Yeah, but the story I was always hearing was like, yeah, it's kind of like what they...
They showed more of that. Yeah. It's kind of like, hey, the thing they said they were doing a year ago, they are now just showing the game doing it. Like, they're making good on their promises. Like, it's coming along, all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, hopefully. I
just want to see it in motion. I just want to see like somebody playing it.
They've done it.
But I mean, not like a very finely orchestrated.
Right. You want to see the real, totally.
Yeah, I want to see the open world. I want to see
what's that game actually like.
Yes.
And I guess like that's why I say like I hope it's more than just a Deus Ex. Like I hope it's more than just like, well, you can hack this door, or you can shoot this guy, or there's an event you can crawl through, like duplicated over and over again through every mission in the game.
Right.
I'm being reductive, but you know what I mean. Like the hey, you can shoot or talk, like school of quest design. Like I hope it's more than that. Google Stadia, which if you are not aware, is a streaming service for video games.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
yeah. For Chromecast,
they do that
for specific. Chromecast.
Specific.
Not every Chromecast. As of April 8th, which has happened already, according to Polygon.com.
They've confirmed that April 8th already happened.
That's where I go for all my dates. Like, what is today's date? Hang on, Polygon.com. Okay.
Just wait for them to confirm it.
Yeah. Okay. It is after April 8th. It is no longer April 8th, according to Polygon.com.
Confirmed.
The free tier of Stadia is available. And
cool.
If you've got a Gmail address, you can use Stadia. And if you do, new users will get 2 months of Stadia Pro and 9 games to use while they're a Stadia Pro member. And those 9 games are Destiny 2, Grid, Guilt, SteamWorld Dig 2, SteamWorld Quest, Serious Sam Collection, Spitlings, Stacks on Stacks,
Whoa.
and Thumper. Existing Stadia Pro members, all of you, will not be charged for the next 2 months of service. So they're not. It's not like, hey, if you got in now, you get 2 months free. They're like, hey, everybody gets 2 months free.
Okay.
They decided let's not make our paid members even more upset.
Right.
Yeah. Let's let these people get the
Go play SteamWorld Dig 2 for free.
SteamWorld Quest is fun also.
Okay, so this is the free version of Stadia. Which Chromecast do you need then? Are you able to buy those?
I don't think so.
What the?
I'm okay. I'm not seeing anything in this story about the Chromecast Ultra firmware going out wide. or not. I don't actually know the answer to your question. Is the answer to your question is I don't know the answer to your question.
Okay. All right.
But it does say
you would assume that firmware's gone out. So if they're giving this whole flood of
I'll tell you this. The Polygon story here that talks about purchasing games to own them says these games can be played on a PC, Chrome OS tablet, Google Pixel phone, and other supported Android devices.
Okay. All right.
It does not say Chromecast in that list.
Crazy.
So Chromecast is an Android device, right? So maybe.
Well,
I feel like Polygon, where I go for my dates, would have also said Chromecast in that list if that firmware had come out.
You might be right.
Huh. I don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah. No.
All this shit is so messy with Stadia. Good Lord.
Yeah. And now that it's out for free and more people will get a look at it, we'll see like kind of what, if anyone cares, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's a viable concept for sure. Maybe not in that format with those price points and all that other stuff.
Odd assortment of games to kind of test this out.
Well, so those are the free games that they've given to all Stadia Pro members, like over the months. It's not like these are specifically for the free tier. That's just the stuff that happened to end up in Stadia Pro as of April 8th. So yeah, I think I mentioned like the last time I used it, it was to try Doom Eternal, and it ran poorly in a way that no other Stadia game has, which was interesting to see. They announced a new XCOM.
Yeah. This morning.
This morning.
Oh, that's where I missed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I gotta pull this up because that's just how late breaking it is.
Okay. This is a brand new numbered or
no? This is a lower priced digital only game for the PC coming out April 24th. So in 10 days.
Oh wow.
Called XCOM Chimera Squad. It is set 5 years after the events of XCOM 2. And so you have 11 agents with their own personalities and tactical abilities. It's like it's all set in a city. There's still kind of out of combat concepts, and there's like a strategy layer to where you are. I'm literally looking at the press release here. Manage the operations of a high-tech HQ. You do investigations. You'll assign agents out. There's kind of a time component to that as well, as there's unrest in the city's various districts, driving City 31, fuck City 17, closer and closer to total anarchy. So it sounds like you have a time component and also like a district, or instead of like countries that you have to make happy, I bet there's something along the lines of like, well, this district of the city has fallen to the aliens because you didn't win here. Turns will be interleaved, so it'll be like you take a turn, an enemy unit takes a turn, you can skip ahead, depending. I'm sure there's different ways to jump the order with abilities or something like that, if I had to guess.
Okay. Also, you play as chimeras.
Yes, also you play as chimeras, that's fun.
Cool.
I've seen people say it's only $10 if you pre-order.
Yes, it's $10 at an introductory price. It will be $20 as of May 1st. So if you get it early on there, it's out the 24th.
Cool.
If you get it before May 1st, it's $10.
I could do that.
Yeah. They're hyping up something called Breach Mode. Players will shape the battlefield to their advantage with a new combat phase that injects squads right into action. They will strategically assign agents to different entry points and coordinate their assault plans with a range of breach-specific skills.
Cool.
So it sounds like just when you deploy for a mission, like maybe you're busting into a building in the city or something like that, you can put someone by every door or something along those lines.
Sounds right. Okay. Yeah, I'm in. Absolutely, a small bite-sized chunk of XCOM. I could go for that.
Yeah, totally. Why not? Yeah, that sounds cool. The XCOM universe is always cool. Like seeing that on a smaller scale, I think would be pretty neat. And
maybe an easier endpoint if you don't have to manage as many things. It sounds like.
Yeah, And like the individual characters will have some type of personality. Like they can tell a story around the agents themselves, which for some players are all about like naming the squads after their friends and letting them all die over and over again. So that's either good or bad depending on your
friendship
point
level.
of view.
Yeah.
But that was a cool announcement. Other 2K news, potentially 2K rumors. Let's say
it's time for the 2K rumor corner.
The 2K rumor corner. Word going around is that WWE 2K21, a game that has not been announced but would theoretically be this year's wrestling game,
that checks out,
is not going to happen.
What?
Oh,
maybe they are not going to put a. They're not going to put a game out in that series this year.
They could just release it without a crowd, and it would be fine.
Yeah, like honestly, and just have a story creator and a boneyard, and you're there. And just put
Firefly Funhouse
in it, and you're fine. Yeah, that would take way more work than they would be able to do.
You're absolutely.
Think of all of the gifts they are stealing from us by not releasing a broken WWE game when we need it the most.
Well,
it would
there's
still be
hope.
there. Yeah.
So this news comes from The word on this comes from Justin Leeper. Who is an ex-Game Informer editor who moved to Japan. He was an indie wrestler. I don't know what he was/is doing, because he has done a lot over time. He did mocap for Death Stranding.
Crazy.
And he also did some writing on, I believe some writing. Maybe it was just mocap, but I believe he did work on some aspects of WWE games in the past.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were going to say Death Stranding.
Yeah. No.
You have him to thank for Princess Beach.
Yes. Yeah. He came up with Princess. So Justin Leeper
ties too.
Yeah. So he's
the franchise.
He's got some ties to game journalism back in the day, but also he's been around the game business for some time, which is why I decided to bring it up. If it was just like someone without those ties, maybe be like, we'll see. But basically, what he's getting at is that he's heard the word going around is that WWE 2K21 will not happen, but a different wrestling game will hit this year.
Ooh.
Okay. So maybe like All Stars 2. Maybe they make a good, fun wrestling. I know. I can't. Don't worry. They'll fuck it up somehow. It's too cool.
What if they just release Supercard 2?
Yeah, but on consoles. What if Topps Slam is coming to consoles? Collect this AJ Styles card. What can you do with it? Nothing, but you can look at it. That's AJ Styles.
There he is.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. That kind of checks out if you start to think about like, well, yeah, normally they tried, I feel like the past little bit here, they've tried to talk about the game at least a little bit around WrestleMania.
Sure.
WrestleMania just happened in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did they announce who's on the cover? Oh,
yeah. And then you start to walk back into like, well, hey, with the pandemic and all this other stuff, no one can be doing mocap, no one can be doing this and that.
Yeah.
And so if they were to ship a game, would it be any better than the last one, which was atrocious? And it sounds like the sales maybe took a hit on that front too, to the point where I don't think I'm making this up, but I want to say WWE mentioned it briefly on an earnings call, which I feel like if the quality of that game reaches a point where the license holder has to kind of say like anything about it other than, yes, we're happy with all our licensees, pal. That's a fucking problem. So they could use the time to make that game not suck, honestly.
Yeah.
So
this is a good opportunity for them to kind of regroup and
and it's not like this would have been a next generation game,
sure,
either. Like if they were putting out a game this year, it would almost certainly be for the existing platforms.
Yeah.
So sorry, I'm shifting around in my chair here. So that's like kind of weirdly exciting in a weird way. Like we always talk about like, man, if this franchise could just take a year off, maybe they could like take some time and fix it. But in this case, like last year, the talk was that Ukes got removed from the project halfway through, and what came out was just this cobbled together mess that was even more broken than that game normally is, and normally it's pretty fucking broken.
Right.
So if they hit a breaking point on that, then honestly, they probably need to rethink the entire thing. Maybe not from the ground up, but damn close in terms of like what they're providing in that product, because it's a train wreck. So
it's been so fascinating to see just the downward spiral of that game. Like, and there's been brief glimpses of stuff that's really good. Like, sometimes the story mode's actually really good, and to see them rip stuff out, like I forgot which features, but yeah, they've removed features.
The story creator they took out. That was always the part I liked the most, because it didn't require me to play that game. Like for me, that was always the thing of like when the license went from THQ to 2K, when THQ went away and 2K picked it up and all that, there were a lot of people who like looked at NBA and the other stuff that Visual Concepts was doing at the time, and other stuff that like sports games that 2K was doing, and they were like, oh man, this is like an amazing opportunity. These games are going to look so much better, and they're the people that made NFL 2K. Like this is like legendary sports game developers, and like,
right.
Oh, they make the good hockey game, and they do like, no. It was still Ukes, and then they got rid of Ukes, and it didn't get better. So I don't know what they need to do, but that thing, yeah, I don't know. I hope that's true. Honestly, I hope they don't put a wrestling game. I hope they don't put a traditional wrestling game out this year. But also, I would very much be interested to see if they did some kind of alternative product, like what that would end up being.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would even have time or resources to make something more cartoony, like an All-Stars 2.
Oh, yeah, so amazing! I would love that.
Yeah,
that was Sal DeVita worked on that. NBA Jam's Sal DeVita worked on All-Stars, among other people. He did not make it all by himself.
No.
What if it's you're playing as Kane and Undertaker, and they're ripping off that Mortal Kombat game where you play as Sub-Zero?
Yep. Instead, they rip off the one where you play as Jax.
Oh man.
Yes, WWE mythologies, Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to seeing it.
Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns.
Yeah. What if just we made a side-scrolling beat 'em up, just like they did for those GameCube games. That'd be real ridiculous.
Yep.
Final story. It's sad. Rick May, he's a voice actor. Voiced the soldier in Team Fortress 2, Andros in Star Fox 64, I believe. And Genghis Khan in Age of Empires 2, according to this Kotaku article, has passed away at the age of 79 due to COVID-19. Yeah, he was in Sweden, from the looks of this.
I mean, one of the most iconic voice lines of video games of all time, do a barrel roll. Like,
did he really? Oh, wow.
It's yeah. That's unfortunate. That's a bummer. That's a sad. That seems like something that didn't have to happen. Yeah, and so you've seen it's been a bunch of fun tributes to him via the TF2 soldier and all this sort of stuff.
So many different like communities love him for so many different reasons. Yeah, it's really cool to see.
Yeah, So obviously,
he did happy.
Condolences to his family and friends and all that.
That's sad.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry.
And that's gonna do it for news. On a downer, but
yeah,
I didn't want to just throw it in the middle and be like wrestling. Let's take another break.
Okay.
Shake loose here, and we'll come back with some B-mails.
No.
We're back. It's time for B-mails.
No.
I'm so ready.
No.
Well,
these aren't B-mails.
These are B&B mails selected by Brad, read by Ben.
Nice.
The best of both worlds.
Yes, exactly. So normally Brad...
different theme song for that, right?
Hit it, Jan.
I need you to sing the vocals for this.
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
And 5, 6, 7, 8. No, my volume's down. Hold on. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Emails are so 2019. Emails are cool and for teens. It's so loud, I can't even hear myself.
Emails.
Yeah, that's great. That's the song we all know and love. That's right. Everyone who complained about music during the emails, you're getting extra punished.
Okay.
All right.
That's our B&B emails theme song first mix.
Yeah, so normally whoever picks the emails reads the emails because they know what the emails are, but I'm reading these in an order based off of subject line alone.
I love it.
This one says,
Fantastic.
Dear Bombcast, about a month before the shelter-in-place order went out for the Bay Area, I matched with somebody on a dating app. We hit it off, but we didn't get a chance to meet before we were no longer allowed to do so. We left the app behind and have been texting, and now we want to virtually meet.
There you go.
They know I like games and spontaneously asked what I thought about meeting in a virtual game situation. They asked if there were any games I really like. The game that came to my mind was Animal Crossing, but they only have a PC. They like games but aren't super into them. More of like more words with friends than Modern Warfare. I've been trying to come up with good games we might be able to play together for online date, so I thought the experts might weigh in with some advice.
Second Life
find the perfect game to use as our first date? Thanks as always, Michael and Los Gatos. It's Second Life, I guess.
Second Life.
I don't know. I haven't virtually dated in a long time.
It's been a long time.
Second Life is a good answer because you can be anything.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
No, that's It's
get it out of the way. Yeah, get it out of the way. Like if you've got something kind of crazy and kinky inside,
both of you install Face Rig and just whatever happens naturally.
Face Rig would kind of be funny.
A lot of people in chat saying VR chat. I doubt they both have VR setups, but that would be a good. I would say PlayStation Home before that.
Yeah, there may be. I don't know if it's VR chat, but there is a there might be a non-VR version of VR chat.
Oh yeah,
one of those VR first like chat world things I know has a non-VR mode now. I don't know if it's VR chat or not. Yes, you don't need VR for VR chat. It's a great name. They should just change the name. Chat. There.com/2.
Play some Dota together.
No, just abandon the relationship.
Hearthstone. Something that's like, if the person has a PC but doesn't play a ton of games, like probably can't go with anything too heavy. But that's just chat,
I feel like you need a physical, like you need to both have physical bodies that you can like walk around with.
I need to have a physical body.
Play Gary's Mod together.
There you go.
It's pretty low rent, isn't it? Or can be.
I feel like that's a steep learning curve for people for someone who hasn't played Gary's Mod before.
I guess there's Minecraft. And
Minecraft could be fun.
You could impress them with your creations.
Speaking of Minecraft, that the ray tracing version of Minecraft will hit beta in a couple of days.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah. Kind of excited to see that.
I wonder how many real relationships.
Minecraft is probably actually the right answer.
How many relationships do you think have actually started because of Minecraft?
Too many.
Do you think it's more than have ended because of Minecraft?
Right.
No. Yeah. Ooh. I think it's 50-50.
Okay.
Next email comes in. Dan in Edinburgh, Scotland. Hi, Bombcast. Why is KK Slider naked?
He's a dog.
Yeah, he can afford to be.
But I have a.
He's worked on that body so long.
I have a dog on my island named Bones who wears clothes.
He's like Goofy. He's like Goofy. KK Slider's like Pluto.
Oh, he's a funny animal.
He's a funny animal. Yeah.
Oh, and the okay.
What if KK Slider's just wearing like a onesie?
I haven't gotten
no one's ever asked that.
Yeah, Zipper could be in back.
Yeah,
just never seen it.
These musicians are fucking freaks, man.
Yeah,
out there, nudists, shitting all over the place, playing KK bongos.
Oh yeah.
I have an email that looks like it's gibberish to me, but hopefully you guys know what they're talking about. Hey fellas, is the Vic Viper a sentient ship like Opa Opa from Fantasy Zone, or is there a guy in there? Hope all is well. Matt from Springdale, Arkansas.
There's clearly a cockpit.
There's a person inside the Vic Viper.
There's a person inside.
Yeah,
yes.
People pilot the Vic Viper.
Yes. And
what is that, and what is Opa Opa?
Vic Viper is the ship from Gradius. Opa Opa is the ship from Fantasy Zone.
Also clearly,
but it's also a person because it has a cockpit, but I guess it's just it also has wings and like feet, right?
That's true. But no mouth. It only lives for like 3 days.
Yeah, Opa Opa is like
Opa emerges.
It's not a cockpit. Those are like Cyclops glasses that keep Opa Opa from shooting, and then has to keep tapping the visor, ruby quartz, something to shoot.
I hope that made sense.
Oh yeah, thank you. It's very clear now.
Great. Okay, good.
Next email.
Opa Opa is a funny animal.
Is Opa Opa wearing clothes?
Opa Opa is
no.
If you're in a spaceship, that counts as wearing clothes, though.
Accurate.
With the news
I'm inside a house. Does that mean if I strip naked, I'm still wearing clothes?
No, because the house doesn't move with you.
I'm wearing a house. Oh.
No, it has to move with you. Like if you're in a mech and you're nude, like Domon Kashu in G Gundam is technically not naked. With the news that Capcom is opting to make Resident Evil 4 for really no reason, I have to ask what happened to Dino Crisis. The company has a franchise that's literally Resident Evil with dinosaurs and yet hasn't touched it in 15 years. Am I the only one out there clamoring for more Dino Crisis?
You're not the only one, but you're one of not as many people as Resident Evil 4 fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the easy real answer is like they can make a shit ton of money from this Resident Evil 4 thing. Whereas Dino Crisis didn't. I don't know that was critically.
Well, by the time it got to 3, I think that was the problem, right? By the time, like when they stopped making Dino Crisis games, it wasn't because everyone loved them and they were making a ton of money.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay, I guess we're kind of wrapping this up, huh?
Wasn't Dino Crisis 3 like so off the rails and bad that it kind of killed it completely?
Didn't it go to space? I don't
know. That's always what I heard.
Space dinosaurs, right? But people liked the, because it was like Dino Crisis 1 was like, check it out, it's Resident Evil but faster paced and dinosaurs. And dinosaurs are better than zombies. Like Dino Crisis should be the series to have survived, I think.
Probably right.
But also,
what if they're the same universe?
Oh yeah, they almost certainly are. They have to be. So eventually we'll get to zombie dinosaurs, or not zombie dinosaurs, as the case may be.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Zids.
Yeah.
All right. I've got a little head-to-head here. We're gonna have to weigh in. Ninjas is the subject line. Team Ninja or Ninja Theory? What's your pick going backward? What about going forward? Love the site, show, and everything else you guys do. Marco from Miramar.
That kind of broke my head a little bit.
So, I had to look this up. Team Ninja's, big hits are the Dead or Alive games, Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive, Metroid Prime.
No, not Metroid Prime. Metroid
Other M, Neo 2 and Neo. And then Ninja Theory, we got Heavenly Sword, DMC, Hellblade, Bleeding Edge, which is coming soon.
That's out.
That's kind of out.
It's out. Disney Infinity, Marvel superheroes.
Oh, I know my answer.
Enslaved.
Oh, Enslaved. That's the same story that Dragon Ball is based on.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't played many of these games actually, but I like the style in the Ninja Gaidens. Those new Ninja Gaidens always looked cool to me, so I'm gonna have to go on them alone.
You're on Team Ninja?
I'm on Team Ninja.
Team Ninja.
Team Ninja, I think, is the choice from a going backwards perspective. But from going forwards, I don't know, like, what is Team Ninja now?
Yeah,
they have nothing in the upcoming. Whereas Ninja Theory is working on the sequel to Hellblade, as well as something called Project Mara, which looks spooky.
I feel like if Itagaki was still out there,
running
Team Ninja, yes, he's like really on the loose.
Oh no!
But if he was out there with his sunglasses and his leather jacket, in a world of social media, if he was as prominent now as he was then, which I guess he's not, he would be the guy people would be talking about in terms of like this Japanese game developer who just fucking blocks everyone. I feel like he would be that dude.
Yeah.
He was always a guy that like there was definitely like you had to kind of like he had a mystique around him in the Ninja Gaiden Dead or Alive heyday, where people were like, oh, be careful how you act around him. He can be really particular. If you ask a question you think is dumb, he'll tell you he thinks it's a dumb question. And it's just like, all right, whatever. I think I interviewed him once and he was fine. He's just a regular dude wearing a leather jacket and sunglasses indoors, but whatever. Who among us
has not
done exactly that, I say. But also he likes Aerosmith too much. Like there's so much Aerosmith, and there's so much Aerosmith in those Dead or Alive games. Any would be too much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Aerosmith, yeah. It's only worked once, and it's in Saints Row.
Yeah. But then, that dude made Devil's Third, and I don't know that anyone's heard from.
Where is he?
Well, Valhalla Game Studios was the developer of Devil's Third, and I don't know if that's still a going concern or not.
I hope he's okay
in this day and age.
Itagaki, if you're out there, just let us know you're okay.
Throw up a flag. Just spin the jacket in the air.
Yeah.
Let us know. You don't want to miss a thing. Yeah, no, I'd say Team Ninja going backwards, but given what Team Ninja kind of is these days, I guess Ninja Theory by default for like potential future output. Neo 2's, I mean, whatever. It's them, right?
Yeah.
So, nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with a Neo 2.
Ain't nothing wrong with a Neo 2.
Ain't nothing wrong with reading our next question. Alex and Austin. Howdy. If you had a HUD in real life, what would it display?
Hunger.
Caffeine.
Okay.
Yeah, caffeine.
Oh, God. I can't
all the same dumb shit that's on my phone.
That's basically a stamina bar.
Yeah.
I would want like email subject lines, text messages, that sort of shit.
I'd like a map.
Yeah, a map be good.
Like a mini map.
Oh, I'd like a mini map with color-coded doorways telling me which ones I have to duck under and which ones I can just walk through.
Ooh, good idea.
That's good.
I could use that too.
Yeah, I need something to denote benches I could rest at, and then vending machines that I can buy stuff at.
Places you can save.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Save points.
Points you could travel quickly between.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Places I can go to spend my skill points, upgrade. Sort of stuff.
Player shop.
My phone's battery level would be handy, just so I could be like, as I'm like going. Well, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, but just like, oh, I'm actually at like 40%. And I haven't looked at my phone. I should probably charge because I don't want to go into another room and get my phone. That's awful.
Memory usage. See what I'm devoting my brain to thinking about.
I don't want people to see that.
I want like directives, like RoboCop style directives. When I'm violating something that I feel is core to my being, I wanted to come up and be like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
That's good.
Okie dokie. This one's called Quarantine Birthday. Hey guys, I turned 21.
It's the new Parasite Eve game, right?
I turned 21 on the 13th, which was yesterday. Happy 21st. And since I can't tear up the town with my friends, what should I do?
What did you do?
From Brandon in Anaheim. Let's pretend that it's not
break into Disneyland.
Oh God.
Oh boy. 21, that's a rough one to not be able to celebrate with your friends.
Right.
Yeah.
If I were a bar, I would give people extra drinks, extra free drinks, if they had their birthday during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, that's what you should do. Once stuff starts opening up, just like roll into a bar and be like, look, this is my first time coming to a bar since you gotta help me out here. Yeah, just like again, honestly postpone it.
If I were a bar, I just got done being closed for like I probably shouldn't be giving away free drinks. Oh shit.
But also if you play it right as a bartender, you can always be like, "Hey, it's this guy's birthday, buy him a drink," and then trick everyone in the bar into buying this person a drink. And
there you go.
Collect all the money.
Should have been a bartender.
Yeah.
Get clean.
Just be perpetually drunk for a week. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
It's working for me.
Don't do that. I thought about it afterwards. Even if you're home, don't do that.
I drank a White Claw the other day and it gave me the sniffles. I don't know.
Flavor. Maybe you're allergic to that flavor.
Yeah, no, it's cherry, I think.
That'll do it.
I bought a case in September. I have one left.
Yep. We just
really tearing through these things.
For the Super Bowl, we bought a case and Lisa just finished it last week.
Yeah. I was like, I guess I'll just drink. It's in the fridge taking up space. I got to get rid of this stupid thing.
Pretty much.
I just realized I haven't had a drink in like 6 weeks. Am I gonna be like a baby again? Am I gonna get killed after one sip?
Yeah,
baby
we're out of this.
Oh man.
All right.
I found never mind.
No, please.
I found a bottle of Hennessy Pure White in my freezer that a friend had given me, and I was just tempted to bust into it, but then I thought against it.
Yeah, there's a lot of vodka here. I keep thinking like, there's a lot. I've not touched any of the alcohol that's just been in this house from the time when I used to go through it a lot more frequently. Like, there's a lot of vodka in this house still, but
I'm drunk all the time.
It's probably
not good.
You drinking water to balance it out?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
No. But I want to be.
And I want to be reading another email. This one comes in from Jason Burlington, Ontario. Hey, Bombers. Hello. I just finished Doom Eternal, and while most of the game was all right, I found the last boss fight to be egregiously long. It took me over an hour from my first try to victory with 3 to 4 deaths. But this was on normal difficulty, and I hadn't had any real trouble up until this point. I really didn't enjoy the fight because of the high tension for such a sustained period, and it soured my experience with the game to a degree. Have many of you completed Doom Eternal? No. And did you have a similar experience? And then here's the real question, since I know none of us beat it. Thoughts and experiences with long boss fights in general. Can you guys think of any last bosses that really kind of soured you on a game?
Ooh.
Oh, last boss.
Kind of the last stretch in Bloodborne. I still haven't gone through it because I've seen it done. Like, I don't need to put myself through that.
I'm kind of there with Sekiro. I don't know if I'll ever beat it, actually.
Oh, you will.
God damn it.
I'm like that with every boss in Bloodborne, though. Stone Elf will climb that mountain.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, like when I played Bloodborne, I definitely like that was early on. There was definitely a one boss at a time. Is this going to be the part where I quit the game? And then I got on a really good run where I was just like, man, I just tore through the middle part of this game, and then got near the end again. I was like, oh shit, I didn't learn shit in all those middle fights, and now I'm terrible at this game again. And had to do a lot more work to get through the later stuff. But
I think in general, like nowadays, like if anything's too stressful, like that's why I've been dragging my feet with Neo 2 so much, is just because it has been so, stressful for like a prolonged period of time where I'm just like my butthole's clenched. Man, I can't take it anymore. I gotta relax.
Jeff, is it too late for suggestions for your soundboard? Because Jason's saying my butthole's clenched is a pretty good one.
I'll add. I have 8 more slots left to get in there. So I've got.
I don't know if you're gonna have luck getting in there, depending on how clenched it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll see. It might be diamonds coming out.
I keep it pretty tight.
Somebody in chat said Control. Not that last sequence, but one of the last sequences really put a sour taste in my mouth.
I did not have trouble with the end of Control. It was more that it was just kind of a little flat. So it wasn't, for me, that wasn't a difficulty thing. It was more of just like, huh. Actually, the people are saying the DLC gets pretty hard, and I've definitely been dying a bit more in the Control DLC than I probably did in most of the main game. But that's more just like, hey, here's a mix of enemies and all this other stuff. So it's not necessarily like a big boss thing. I think the end of Phantasy Star 2, I remember being a motherfucker at the time. I think maybe I just wasn't leveled
grind all the way through.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's yeah. Yeah.
Okie dokie. Let us see. Eggs?
Oh boy.
I love them.
Well, Jeff, what is your favorite way to have your eggs?
Scrambled eggs.
Have you tried different methods while working from home?
No. I've not had any eggs since working at home.
I usually just do I've eaten eggs literally every day. I usually just do over easy on toast, but lately I've been doing an egg in a nest, and I sure do feel fancy.
Here's the thing.
Fancy.
Here's the thing. I was lying. I've been eating eggs most days, but they come in the form of frozen breakfast burritos.
Aha. There we go.
Which I don't think counts.
No, it totally counts.
Okay.
It's a method of ingestion.
All right.
Via burrito.
I think, scrambled is still, I think, my favorite. It's the easiest. It's the easiest if you want to throw a bunch of different leftover ingredients in something. Just do a big scramble.
We've talked about this on the after show. I like scrambled eggs, and I want them bone motherfucking dry.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh my god,
that's insane to me.
Yeah, I remember I was at a cabin camping or glamping with my girlfriend's friends, and they said oh, we'll make breakfast, don't worry. And they made scrambled eggs, and it was the most runniest bowl of eggs. It looked like it was sweating.
Okay, they can't be runny, but
it was terrible. Ugh.
I'm I do low and slow, and you stir it for a really long time, so they come out fluffy, but not.
Yeah, fluffy is fine. I have no problem with that.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. But I feel like my stance on scrambled eggs only hardened more when I started going to Japan, because they are just the scrambled eggs in Japan, in my experience, have just been the most barely formed. It's just, here's a puddle with some hints of formed eggs in it half the time. It's so runny, just not even warm all the way half the. It's just, this is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the big tray of scrambled eggs at the buffet where you just you cut it like it's a piece of fucking cake, and it comes out, and it's just here's this big old chunk of dry ass motherfucking scrambled eggs, and then a tray of bacon from which I can eat is next to it.
Yeah.
And everything is fine.
I boiled a bunch of eggs this week just for I'm snacking a lot. And so I was like, okay, let me do a little bit. all the snacks I have are just like super high carb, whatever. I'm like, oh, get some boiled eggs in the mix for just a nice little protein kick, and that's been real nice.
I'm doing a lot of breakfast quesadillas. Have you guys seen the method that's been popping up online a lot?
No.
Get like an egg scramble, put on like a nonstick. Once that's almost done, throw some cheese, throw your tortilla on top, flip that bad boy over, fold, breakfast quesadilla.
Oh, that's nice.
That sounds nice.
That's real nice.
Coming over. I can't.
Is there any style of egg you guys really don't like?
Like hard-boiled, soft-boiled, like that sort of stuff. I'm usually not into.
I actually don't like scrambled. Give it to me over hard, man.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm not real big on like poached eggs. I can do it, but it's not really.
It looks like a ghost. I don't like it.
Jan, you just haven't had Eggs Benedict yet. You don't know the joy.
Well, we've made it, so it's close enough.
we made hollandaise sauce that we poured over gravy over a KFC famous bowl.
Funny story.
That was the first time I had hollandaise sauce in probably 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was way better than I remember.
There we go, baby. I think I tried making hollandaise recently, and I failed at it. I was thinking, I made this as a goof. How come I can't make it now?
I've never poached it. I do like poached eggs, but I've never poached one myself. It just seems like so much work.
All right, just get a little tornado going in the water. That's it.
Just get a little tornado going, I guess.
Yeah.
Egg tornado. That's what that guy says in that's from Fighter Street Dynamite. Egg tornado. Egg tornado. Yeah.
All right. How about another email from Josh? In the age of heightened environmental awareness, why on earth did Amazon name their game engine Lumberyard? It seems like the rest of the planet is trying to separate the notion of lumberyards and the Amazon.
They're just reflecting what's happening to the actual Amazon.
Oh boy,
it's just art imitates life sort of thing.
Yeah,
dark but true. Dark but true, baby.
It makes sense. It's a name that makes sense, but I agree with the notion that it's maybe a little tone deaf.
It's fucking crazy. They did that. It's fucking crazy. Amazon, what's that? A forest. What do you do with a forest? You chop it down, I guess. I don't know. What do you turn it into cardboard boxes to ship toilet paper to people? Where do they get with the toilet paper? Dog, let me walk you through this.
All right, let me just click on one of these ones randomly.
All right, this is the last email, so it better be good.
Email better be good.
That one.
Controller gimmicks versus cost. Hey, duders. After Sony's reveal of the DualSense, my main thought is how every new controller gimmick is rarely taken advantage of, and the result is often a more expensive controller. How much cheaper would a DualShock 4 have been without a touchpad? Imagine how much cheaper a Switch would be without IR, HD rumble, and motion. So my question is, can you think of a controller feature that was really worth the extra cost?
I think the thing that the emailer is mistaking is like, without that stuff, the controller would be cheaper, but probably not to us, just to Sony and Nintendo. Mm-hmm. They'd probably still just try to get theirs. They would just turn a better profit on it with a lower cost of goods or something, if I had to guess. But
I like the HD rumble. I don't know.
The rumble in the Switch is so terrible. It's just phone ass. What? Like it's so loud. It's like this. It sounds like a cheap phone when the Switch starts vibrating. I hate the sound and usually the feel of it. The HD rumble in 1.2 Switch is cool.
It's really good in Mario.
Yeah, when it works, you're like, oh, this is really neat. But like, I'm trying to think like what other game had like good what was using HD rumble?
Mario Odyssey, when you're running around looking to ground pound the stars, and it's
that's
like
just
you can
rumble.
Feel relative. No, because it would move, like you could feel where in relation to the star it was in your hands. Like you would feel it to the left, and you'd move to the left, or you do far right, you go to the right.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ring Fit uses it super well because it gets more and more intense and moves up the thing as you are like getting into your position, and then once you're locked in, it stops.
Moves up the controller, you mean? Like the
The leg, yeah, the one on your leg, because the other one's in the ring.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Because I feel like HD Rumble, like very few games use it, and it just generally hasn't been like it seems
it's
like
not used enough for
like
sure.
a gimmick for 1-2 Switch and all the other use cases. Like, I mean, I'm happy you were able to name 2 of them because I could not.
I cannot name a third.
That it was just like that. It didn't just feel like, oh, it's got Rumble, But honestly, yeah, the way that stuff feels in the hand, it just, to me, it feels like the most fucking busted ass cheap Android phone, like Windows Phone $99 special vibrating ass phone. Like, it just has a bad feel to it, and it's again super loud. It's crazy. I get just every time the Switch vibrates, I'm like, I gotta turn this shit off. It's stupid.
I like the little speaker in the PS4 controller, but I think I stopped liking it after Death Stranding.
Yeah. The VMU.
You like that?
It's the only good one in history.
The VMU is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
very
used
cool.
as well as you want it to be, but boy, it's cool that they did that. You could call plays on it in NFL 2K or whatever. You could look at your plays and hide your plays from your opponent on it.
How the little icons would change all the time with the different games.
Cool.
Because everyone's always staring at their controller in every game. You're always like, oh, it's a picture of Sonic now. That's dumb. Oh, it tells me what my score is. That's something I look down at a lot. Sure. Sure. All right. Well, that's going to do it for emails, for the B&B mails.
B&B mails.
That's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you're watching live, if you're watching after the fact, if you're listening to audio, we're still in very crazy times. We're doing a whole lot of live streaming on the internet. Yeah, so you can, it's worth giantbomb.com/chat most weekdays, every weekday, really, pretty much all day. Just they're taking rotating shifts and everybody's getting on and trying to team up, do some different stuff. I'm gonna try to play. I'm gonna try to play some Bubble Bobble for Friends.
Oh,
which I've got on Switch. We got it in and figure we should probably just produce some kind of coverage of it. I don't think the game's very good.
Oh,
so probably won't play a ton of it, but I do like Bubble Bobble conceptually. So there is that. And what else? I mean, I'm not
sometimes
at the level
we're streaming
PSO2
at the same time as other streams.
That's true. Yeah, streams on streams. We've deployed new functionality that allows us to create custom, separate, bespoke chat rooms at the drop of a hat. I believe they can now be named whatever we want them to be, which is a terrible. Originally, it was just our first names, and now I'm pretty sure we can just
name it whatever. Yeah,
name it whatever, which is a dark power to have that I look forward to taking advantage of at some point in the near future. I got to fill these last 8 spots on the soundboard. Gotta get some folks together and figure that out. Gotta rebuild my OBS layout one of these days. Like it was all kinds of stuff. So, yes, the Monkey 64 says Buck Bumble on loop. Yes, sure. What if we just streamed 6 hours of the Buck Bumble intro theme? That's hot
Jan,
right now.
What if you and I just played through all of Bugdom?
Oh, do we? Yeah, okay. There's no use fighting it.
Don't admit to. Don't agree to it on the internet. It's.
Maybe we can reconvene the Bugdom troop
court,
the Bugdom tribunal. All right. Well, stay tuned for the Bugdom Tribunal, aka the Giant Bombcast Aftermath, the after show that we're doing after this show. I spent $100 and now we can route audio for voicemails. So we're gonna listen to some voicemails this week that you've been calling in with on that after show this week. So stay tuned for that if you're here with us live. Otherwise, stay safe out there. Be careful. And scrub up. See you later.